Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Tuesday morning mentor. My name is Aaron Gudekunst here with Elevate, and obviously we pushed this back a day because of Memorial Day here in the States. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. But now we're going to be diving into the last week of our blogging topic for the month of May, even though it's technically not May anymore. But anyways, we're going to be getting into kind of like the crunchier bits and parts of blogging, some of the kind of like the nuts and bolts, if you will. I'll try not to get too into the weeds, and keep it nice and short for you guys as usual. And what we're going to be covering today, kind of the nice things about them is some of them, once you've actually done it one time, you kind of set it and forget it, and that's all you need to do. Others you'll need to get more into a rhythm of doing consistently, and some of it is just consistent by virtue of following the best practices that we've already covered. So let's go ahead and we're going to dive right in. So first off, we want to pick the right keywords, and you've heard this before. If you've ever gone to some kind of seminar or some kind of class on blogging, including keywords in your content. It's important to note that while your content should not just be a word scramble of keywords, it does need to contain some. This is something we talked about earlier on in the month. You don't want to produce content that's just basically a word vomit of keywords because people aren't going to be interested in that. It doesn't read well. Blogs need to be a little bit more conversational and seem a bit more natural, and keywords don't necessarily lend themselves to that very well. But it does need to contain some keywords, and you'll need to use them for your tags and such when you're blogging. And it's important to also tie in keywords to your actual content. So what are keywords? Keywords are going to be things like the actual written out name of the neighborhood that you're in, or things like real estate, things that are demographically focused to either where you're talking about or who you are talking about. And so those things get to help to get picked up with different things such as a search engine. And so using that as a way to be able to not only obviously give good information, but also to be able to help things like search engines find you and pick up your content and associate that with search results that people are putting in. And speaking of search engines, obviously one of those things that we're going to be working on through all of this is your search engine optimization as well. We have an entire guide on search engine optimization, or SEO, and you can check out that link here. I'll leave it up for a second. So I won't go in too deep because that's a whole other monster by itself that we've covered before. But yes, it is still important to follow those best practices. And yes, it is still possible to land on the front page of Google without having to pay for it. This covers a lot of things. So not only talking about content that is obviously relevant, but having a schedule to where you're posting multiple times a week. And if you're following the practices that we've covered and using some of the ideas that we've talked about in the weeks leading up to this, that by now should actually seem like a pretty easily achievable goal for you. Talking about things that are not just real estate related, but also lifestyle, things that are more locally focused, that things that are talking about listings or are talking about things in the community or places in the community where you're using actual names of neighborhoods and you're using actual community references. Those types of things, so that when people are doing those types of searches, you're popping up more and more frequently and closer to the top. The next thing you want to be sure to include are backlinks, both linking internally and linking externally. So backlinks just means that you're clicking on, you have links inside of your article that go to other places. And linking internally means that you're linking to other places inside of your web presence. Linking externally could be like linking to your social channels or linking to maybe the Chamber of Commerce website, things like that. So, to where you're not going like super crazy and sending people all over the place. But you definitely want to be able to reference other points of interest or other pieces of information that you can't necessarily fit inside of a standard 3 to 4 paragraph blog article. So having that opportunity to link out not only gives people more information in the long run, but it's also another thing that helps you to get picked up by search engines as well. Don't be afraid to link out to other businesses if you are, affiliated with them, or you have, a strategic partnership with them, or you just want to shout out a local business that you're a big fan of. That is absolutely okay to do. The only thing that I would recommend is, as you are putting these links into your blog articles, set it up so that the link is opening in a new tab or a new window, so that folks are not navigating away from your blog to when they click on these different links, but the blog is still there. They're just also pulling up this new window with additional information. Using videos. I didn't really cover this too much uh, in the weeks leading up to this, like when we were talking about content, but the use of videos is super strong inside of blog articles, because it's a very easy way to include a lot more information inside of a blog article without actually using up that real estate of space, in terms of the size of the page, and the number of words that you're having to type out. So if you have videos already created, or maybe you're showcasing a listing and you have like a walkthrough video that you recorded, or a virtual tour, including those things inside of the blog post as well. Or maybe you're talking about an event that you just attended or helped to sponsor, or maybe put on a 5K or something like that, as a fundraiser. Posting videos and pictures that showcase what happened, and giving people the bigger story of everything that went on, so that next year when it comes around, you can still use those videos to promote the event and get more interest and things like that. So using videos is a very good way to include more information in a visually appealing way, because folks are way more likely to watch a video than they are to just read a post that is just word for word what you would have put in the video anyway. And I mean, honestly, guys, at this point, if you have a smartphone, videos are super easy to shoot as well. They don't have to be these, full on professional productions. It can just be you and the phone and a nice background. So, and that background can just be outside of the park too. So nothing super crazy. Writing accurate, what are called meta descriptions. And so meta descriptions are going to, depending on your blog platform and depending on what website you're using, like what website platform you're using, such as WordPress. Meta descriptions are what blogs will share with search engines as a description, kind of like a short snippet or taste of what the article is about. Um, if you are searching, if you're searching Google, and you've typed in something that you're searching for, and you see like the name of the article or the thing that's the link that you can actually click on, but then there's that, like, couple lines of text underneath that are kind of talking about what that link is. That's a meta description. So if you ever go on Google and you see that gray text underneath the actual link, that's what you're seeing there. So having, if your platform allows you to put in meta descriptions, then you'll be able to kind of give a short like summary of what the content is about, so that again, as more people are seeing that and they can easily identify, oh, okay, so this is something that I want to read. They click on it, and again, that just kind of helps move you up in the search rankings. The next one is analytics. And the line item I have for here is Google Analytics, but that's not necessarily the one that you have to use. A lot of different platforms have analytics baked into them at this point. It's 2021. We have the technology. However, if your website doesn't have that, and you aren't able to necessarily like foot the bill for a third party that will take care of it, Google Analytics is a free tool that will allow you to do just that, to get all the analytics and results, see the engagement, where people are coming from, what they're clicking on, what they're interested in, etc. Um, all of that you'll be able to have access to, or be able to see, through a Google Analytics account, or just through an analytics platform. You should have this on your entire website anyway, just as a best practice there. But for your blog, it's not only how you will track where traffic is coming from, but also gauge, again, what type of content there that is resonating with your audience. And so where you should kind of put your focus. So like, with email marketing, for example, if you send out 3 different emails and the second email gets like very little opens, very little clicks, and maybe the third email gets a lot of opens, but then 0 clicks, and then your first email gets a ton of opens and a ton of clicks, well, which one are you going to go with? It's the same concept with your blog articles. If you have blog articles that are getting a lot of read time, you're able to kind of keep folks on that page for a good period of time, and you're able to see how long they're staying there. If you have three different articles and one's getting almost no read time, one of them's getting just a little bit of read time, and then one of them is getting a ton of read time, and maybe a whole bunch of clicks and stuff too, then that's the type of content obviously that is resonating with your audience. So that's why it's important to have that access and be able to see what's going on, on your blog posts. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is categories or tags. And this is something that's just kind of like blogging 101. Any blogging platform that's worth its salt is going to have the option to categorize or tag your articles. So that if somebody is coming to your website or coming to your blog and they're looking for articles specifically for, new home buyers, they can easily locate it. That's why it's also important to not only use keywords and tags, but to use ones that actually make sense for the art content that you're writing about. You don't want to just use this boilerplate of just, again, keyword vomit or tag vomit that is just going to be the same for every single article. I mean, if you're writing about community content as well as real estate content, but then you're using real estate tags for all the community content too, then all that community content is going to show up for if somebody just runs a search for real estate articles. And if they're not interested in that, and if they're basically seeing that, I can come to the blog and I'll see all the content. I can run a search for specific content, but then I still see all the content. They're not you're going to lose their interest pretty quick, because it's going to become apparent to them very quickly that they can't drill down and find the content they're actually interested in. Again, this is all about providing value, because once you provide value, that's when you get the engagement. And when you get the engagement, that's when you get things like the leads and you get things like the search engine optimization. So using tags that and categories that first off make sense for the content that you're writing, but then also just using them to begin with will help tremendously with everything that we've been talking about. It all works together in this cohesive system, that is blogging. And that's why, I'm not only strongly encouraging that you as a real estate professional do continue to, blog frequently and blog about all sorts of things, but that you follow these best practices that we've been laying out, because these best practices, you can put out content all day long, but if nobody knows you're there, or if nobody's interested in reading your content, it's not going to be worth your time, right? And that's where a lot of agents and brokers are kind of where they're seeing the struggle, is that they can put out content, but without following the best practices that go along with that, there's a disconnect. And so being able to put out not only good content, but being able to follow the best practices that make that content more engaging and easier to find is going to make your life 100% easier and really drive up that good old ROI that everybody loves to talk about. But anyways, I'm not going to drag it out too much longer. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this month as we've been talking about blogging. Next week, we're going to shift focus a little bit, and we're going to be talking about the different types of social content, social channels, social media posting, different things like that. We've talked about some scheduling stuff in the past and giving you some ideas of what you can post. This time, we're going to be going over some of the different best practices that'll, again, just like we talked about with blogging, not only the things that you can do, but also the things that you should be doing that will take your social presence, your online presence there, just from being there to being fantastic there. So I can't wait to go over that with you guys during the month of June. Again, my name is Aaron Gutekunst here with Elevate. You can check us out at tryelevate.com. And until I see you guys next week, I hope you have a grand old time. I'm still working on a sign off. Anyways, see you guys later. Bye.